It is a triple header of action here on FATV. Not only is it going to be hockey night in Fitchburg later today, but first it is basketball afternoon in Fitchburg, I suppose. John Gugerty here with you alongside Daniel Bolak. And our first game today, Dan, sees the Falcons take on the Westfield State Owls. This women's match should be fast-paced, high-intensity, plenty of points coming in this one.
Absolutely, John. The Falcons come into this game with a 5-15 record, 3-5 in the MASCAC. Westfield State 9-12, a bit on the downswing, but 6-2 in MASCAC play. They are the 4-time defending MASCAC champions, and they've been getting it done using a form of the Grinnell system.
Head coach Andrea Bertini in her 15th season with Westfield State. You mentioned that Grinnell system. It's something that usually one or two schools in each conference at this level will bust out. Tell us a little bit more about what we're going to see from Westfield State. What is, for someone who's never heard of it before, the Grinnell system?
Yep. It is pretty uncommon, but there are some schools out there that use the Grinnell system based on Grinnell, out of Grinnell College in Grinnell, Iowa.
Okay.
And they've been using a system like this for over 20 years now. For Westfield State, they picked it up in the last few years, and what they do is the overall goal of the system: take 100 shots, make half of them three-point attempts, force 32 turnovers, rebound a third of your team's misses, outshoot the opponent by 30 attempts. They figure if you do all of those things, you will probably win the basketball game, and Westfield uses a form of that where they will have 14 players on their roster, and just about every one of them is going to get into this game.
And, you know, you threw a lot of numbers out of there really quick, but you stop and think of it, 100 shots in a 40-minute game just from your side. That's going to be super fast-paced from Westfield on both ends of the court, because they're going to play aggressive full-court defense, and that's going to require their players to be going max effort pretty much all the time. It's almost going to be like a hockey game with this Westfield State side, Dan. They are going to be making line changes, in essence, every 60 or 90 seconds.
Something like that. I mean, we got to see this last year when we got to do a basketball doubleheader, and we're going to see it again today. But Andrea Bertini has been able to put together a solid squad. As we mentioned, the last 4 years, the Owls have been MASCAC champions. But the Falcons coming in 5-15. In comparison, they have just 9 players to use in today's contest.
Fast-paced, high-intensity attack from Westfield against just 9 Falcon players. It's been a difficult year for Fitchburg State. Their head coach, Laura Pierce, is in her first season. She came to the team rather late in the year, didn't have as much of a chance to do as much recruiting as she would have liked. You go out there and you play all of the games, but everybody on the Fitchburg State women's basketball side knew going in this year was going to be a struggle, and it has been one to this point.
It has been a little bit of a challenge, but the main point has been to try to just lay down the groundwork for the future for Fitchburg State. I mean, the women's basketball team has struggled historically for the last several years, and they're looking to bounce back, but obviously it takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And so we're going to take a pause for the national anthem. We'll have starting lineups and tip right after this.
Fitchburg State University women's basketball here on FATV. John Gugerty with you, joined as always by Daniel Bolak. Fitchburg about to take on the 4-time defending MASCAC champion Owls of Westfield State University. We will go get the starters and then we'll be ready for tip-off.
Indeed. And so for the Owls, they'll be starting Chelsea Musette, Jen Rinnick, Natalia Falcone, Isabella Aiken, and Melissa Gray. For Musette and Gray, they have started every contest this year for the Owls, and Gray is the leading scorer in the MASCAC, averaging 20.4 points per game.
Not too often you see, especially at the D3 women's level, a scorer come in average over 20 points a game.
And not only that, because of the Grinnell system, not a whole lot of minutes for her compared to other players who would average that many points a game. Gray only averages 22.3 minutes a contest, whereas a player who puts up 20-plus points a game usually will play something closer to 30 or 35. You look and compare with Angelina Marazzi, the leading scorer for the Falcons. She averages 33 minutes a game, but only has 15 points a game in comparison. Angelina Marazzi will be starting alongside Peyton Holmes, Catherine Coppinger, Emma Thompson, and Mish Logie.
And again, those 5 women represent 55% of the roster for Fitchburg State. Actually, Dan, looking down on the sideline, I only see 3 T-shirts on the bench there. The roster has 9, but the Falcons may only have 8 players for this game.
Yep, and that's going to make things even more challenging because they're going to have to deal with this full court pressure that Westfield is going to be coming with, and they're going to have to try to maintain that pace for 40 minutes. It's going to be a challenge, and because you only have 3 reserves to pull from, it means that you're going to have 2 starters on the court at all times.
Tall task for the Fitchburg State women taking on these Owls of Westfield. There will be 4 10-minute quarters here in the first game. Our second game today will also be Fitchburg State versus Westfield State. That'll be men's basketball. They do 2 20-minute halves there. But we are just about ready for tip-off here in Fitchburg.
The opening tip will be won by the Falcons, and we are underway. The Falcons in the home white uniforms with green numbering and trim, going right to left in this first half. The Owls in the road dark blue uniforms with white numbering and trim, and they'll be going left to right. That ball knocked out of bounds, and already there's turnover number 1 for Westfield forced. We said the goal is 32 turnovers from the Grinnell system. They forced 36 the last time these 2 teams played on January 16th. So Westfield on their first possession, take it on the right side of the court. From the baseline, it goes to Melissa Gray. Now back and forth it goes, and underneath Isabella Aiken gets the first points of the game for the Owls.
Chelsea Musette did a nice fake there. Looked like she was going to take the 3, wound up tossing it inside. Aiken laid it up and in.
We'll see if the Falcons are going to try to go with a 3-point shooting game in this contest as well. It leaves lots of open looks. Will this high-pressure offense? Peyton Holmes attempts the first 3 of the game. That one a bit too strong off the iron, taken up by Musette. Musette out to Aiken on the right side, back for Musette in the corner. Now top of the arc for Gray. She'll loft a 3. It's a bit too strong there as well. Musette gets the rebound. In the paint, she throws it up, and that one's going to fall. Chelsea Musette gets on the board for 0 Westfield.
Offensive rebounds, part of the Grinnell system we talked about already. Westfield State picked up one there, got him the bucket.
You can already see in front of the scorer's table 5 Owls ready to come in. A 3 ball from Emma Thompson catches nothing but air, ends up going right out of bounds. And now as we see the first line change of the day for Westfield, 5 new players into the contest.
82 seconds in, they change out the entire team. It's going to be like that all day for the Owls.
As Lauren Laguerre takes it into the paint, throws out to the left corner for Siobhan Moriarty, who takes it to the rack, throws it up and in.
You see the
Go ahead.
Westfield with that full court defense, not letting the Falcons even bring the ball up court, not letting Fitchburg breathe.
There's Holmes in the left corner, takes a dribble, throws that up, rattles around and falls. Peyton Holmes opens the Falcons scoring account on the day. Quickly brought up by the Owls from the left side corner. That one Moriarty. Skip pass, deflected, taken into the hands of Jordan Halgis. Halgis holds at the right corner with Mish Logie on her. On the baseline, Alyssa Kamara into the paint, lost the handle on the basketball, and Coppinger comes up with the steal. Marazzi, hassled by a couple of Owls, now leaves off for Coppinger. On the right wing, knocked out of her hands illegally by Lauren Laguerre, and that's the first foul of the contest.
Laguerre, a freshman for Westfield State, comes to us out of Bedford, Mass. Picks up her first foul.
Westfield makes another line change as Marazzi takes it from the top of the arc. Goes to the right elbow, now into the paint. Everybody surrounding her tried to get a bounce pass inside for Lindsay McDonald, but it was intercepted by the Owls. Brought up right side corner, 3-ball for Aiken, that's good. Isabella Aiken gets the 3 there. She's got 5 for the Owls. Now 9-2 they lead.
Fast-paced transition offense, drive and kick. It's as simple as they get. Now Westfield with another opportunity. Chelsea Musette, the steal, the layup, 2 points.
Just like that, it's that easy for Westfield. And Laura Pierce will call timeout with 6:58 to go in the first quarter. It's Fitchburg State 2, Westfield State 11.
We'll take the opportunity to thank a few of our underwriters who help bring us this and every broadcast here on FATV. FATV's remote productions are underwritten in part by Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, and the UMass Memorial Health Alliance Clinton Hospital.
11-2 the score, Westfield in front with just 3 minutes and 2 seconds gone in this one. These two teams last met, as we said, on January 16th. That game ended 106-76 in favor of Westfield State. It was the most points the Falcons conceded this year, but strangely enough, it was also the most points they've scored in a game this season.
Something tells me 76 points isn't going to get it done based on what we've seen from Westfield so far.
Marazzi double-teamed, gets the pass off for Holmes. Now out to Logie, inside, finding some space and time was McDonald, and she is fouled from behind. She'll go to the line for our first free throws of the day.
Jen Rennick guilty of the offense. Rennick, the sophomore, also from Bedford.
Both Bedford High graduates. McDonald, first free throw, back iron, front iron, and falls.
Doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to go through the hole.
McDonald will have one more free throw, the freshman guard and forward. Second free throw rattles as well, but it does fall. Falcons will earn the 2 points there and make it 11-4. Musette around to the left side. 3-ball is good out of Melissa Gray. Her first points of the day.
Gray had hands in her face but was unfazed. Got the shot off, got it in.
If you play the Grinnell system, you can't be afraid to throw up threes, as Marazzi has that take 2 hops off the rim and will not go. And Westfield already having sunk 2, going for a third. Not going to get it that time, but an offensive rebound nicely corralled there by Falcone. Lost the handle though, and Fitchburg will bring it up. But then there's the steal. Gray reading that perfectly, coming up with the interception. Bounce pass to Aiken, high off the glass, no good. Another offensive rebound for Westfield. Kick out for a 3 for Musette. That doesn't go either. Holmes had the positioning, couldn't get a play on it. Another offensive rebound, a 3-ball from Gray. That's no good, and Marazzi will come up with it.
Falcons got a gift on that end. Now a 3 is no good.
That was out of the hands of Thompson. Offensive rebound for the Falcons. Marazzi from the top of the arc. Goes into the paint, nice moves.
Angelina Marazzi, her first points of the game.
Taking the maximum number of steps allowed. As on the other end, Gray, I think that one was blocked. I think McDonald got a hand up in that. And now Logie. Double team, trapped in the backcourt. And now they do not get it across the midline in time. That's a 10-second violation, and Westfield gets the ball back.
It's this aggressive, high-intensity, the full-court press deployed to perfection by Westfield State. 2 and 3 players on whoever has the ball. There's nothing she can do with it. This time it forces the turnover.
Already 6 turnovers against Fitchburg State, and we're only halfway through the first quarter. 3-ball is too strong from the top of the arc, but that pinball's off a lot of Falcon hands and out of bounds. It's going to go right back to the Owls.
Lindsay McDonald kind of let that one go, thought it might be off an Owl, but no, the official rules, it's off a Falcon. Westfield State retains possession.
Kamara inbounds to the left side corner for Laguerre, drives the baseline, draws contact, couldn't get a shot up, so it's just going to be on the floor. Marazzi will be called with that one.
Looked to my eye like she got a lot of ball there, but she got the arm as well. Marazzi called for her first foul.
So we'll inbound halfway through this first quarter of play. Driving right side of the paint with Siobhan Moriarty, and she draws contact. She'll go to the line.
It's Jade Harold guilty.
First foul of the game for the sophomore forward. And so we'll see Moriarty on the line. First free throws of the day for Westfield. And the first one hits the back iron, is no good. Moriarty on the season, 9 of 16 coming into today's game from the charity stripe. That's 56%. Second free throw is good. And they'll make it 15-6. I know the scoreboard that you see on your screen is off by a point. Our live stats say it's 15-6 right now, so we'll see if they notice the discrepancy and change it later, but I'm going with what I've got on the live stats and on my own counting right now. So 15-6, we'll try to deal with that the best we can. Mish Logie with a long two from the left side. She's got her first points of the day. On the other end, a wild shot out of the hands of Laguerre will not fall. As it's taken up by Shannon Fitzgerald, skips to the left side. Finding an opening in space to shoot was Marazzi, but offline to the left, and the rebound pulled down by the Owls. Laguerre on the right wing for Alyssa Kamara. Kamara passes out to the left side for Allison Mendel. Mendel into the paint, found some space, threw it up, back iron no good. Look at that long throw down court just to get to Marazzi. She's got the moves to make that work, and Marazzi gets two more.
Fitchburg playing a little transition of their own. Westfield State committed so many players to the basket, it left Marazzi wide open down court.
Cuts it down to a two-possession game. Three ball, front iron, back iron, no good for Laguerre, who's been ice cold to open up this contest for the Owls. Jade Harold for Coppinger, now around for Logie. Logie left side baseline jumper is good.
That's what the Falcons have to do, Dan. They have to keep the ball moving. They can't try to set up, slow developing plays because Westfield will just swarm them.
A big skip pass to the left side. A three ball is no good. Harold in good position to pull down the board. She'll find Marazzi on the near side, bringing it across into the paint. Marazzi gets called for an offensive foul. Called for the charge, and that's her second foul of the contest with 3:02 to go in the first quarter.
Thought for a second there she was going to get the and one, try to tie this game up. All right, so I've got Musette with 4, Moriarty with 2, Aiken with 5. Actually, Moriarty has 3. 4 and 5 and 3 is 12. Yeah, I've got 15 too.
Yep. Imagine someone just pressed the wrong button on one of those threes, as that long shot does not fall. Holmes bounce pass, couldn't find Fitzgerald, just out of her reach. The pass was behind her. Westfield's bringing it up with pace. Three ball left wing, that's good. Out of the hands of Melissa Gray, her second three of the day, 18-12.
Gives Gray 6 points for the junior from Peabody.
And that's stolen by Musette. Musette in the paint, bounce pass. That's no good, second chance, and a foul called.
Was really good defense by Catherine Coppinger. She found herself 3-on-1 against the Owls. Defended alone for as long as she could, finally committed the foul. And that'll send Melissa Gray to the line.
First free throw is good for the junior forward. Gray, junior from Peabody, as you said. She's got one more, takes not a whole lot of time to take those free throws. Second one was no good, but an offensive rebound pulled down by Kayla Durkee. And now a chance for more points for Westfield. Three ball, no good for Aiken. Rebound pulled down by Fitzgerald. That pass double coverage, but McDonald able to pull it in. Falcons move it around. Fitzgerald, three ball, back iron, tipped towards the Westfield bench, out of bounds. That will go in favor of the Owls. We do have the scoreboard fixed now. 18-12 is the correct score. That's what we have, and now they've got it as well with 1:57 to go and another line change.
First time you can really breathe in this game with how quickly Westfield has been playing.
It's always fascinating to see a team play this system. As a foul is called as Mendel was charging into the paint.
think they got it on Logie, though.
They did. That'll be her first of the contest. That's the 5th foul against Fitchburg, which means it'll be 2 shots from the charity stripe for the rest of the quarter for Westfield. First free throw is good for Gray.
Don't mind me, I'm just comparing my notes.
Second free throw is good as well, and now Gray already up to 9 points in this contest as Westfield brings it out to a 20-12 lead. Double teamed already is Fitzgerald, and again, that's going to happen with this system. Ball on the court. No kickball there, as it was never really directed off a foot. But ultimately, the Falcons able to avoid the turnover and retain possession. Emma Thompson, left corner, 3-ball out of the hands of Fitzgerald is wild and offline. In quick transition, nice block there by the Falcons and McDonald. 32 on 32 violence there, rejecting Ali Skolnick.
Skolnick wanted her first points of the game, but McDonald says no way. And she and the rest of the Owls will head to the bench, and we'll get a fresh crew who will maybe play out the last minute 17 of this quarter. Maybe.
So Gray with the inbound. You can see those quick passes. It all comes back to Gray at the end, but her shot glances off the front of the rim. That was a bad pass, and Westfield will happily take the ball back. Gray underneath from the top of the restricted arc. Can't get that one to fall, and Coppinger pulls down the board, but then it's stolen away again by Musette. A third chance for Westfield. That one short. Offensive rebound, and that one back ironing in for Jen Riddick, and she opens her account on the day.
It doesn't matter if your shooting percentage is 25% if you get 4 times as many shots as the other team does.
We have a foul on the court. Looks like it'll be against Westfield. That'll be the first against Melissa Gray. Only the 3rd foul against the Owls, so no free throws yet. They've still got a foul to give as well. With 43.4 to go in this first quarter, it's 12 for Fitchburg, 22 for Westfield.
Angelina Marazzi will check back in.
More substitutions for both sides. Marazzi back into the game. Coppinger into the paint. Tries the scoop shot. Had trouble with the positioning with 2 Owls right on her, clamping down in Moriarty and McCurry. Out to the right side, and this is Mindell. Mindell trying to put the moves on Marazzi. She won't bite. Kamara, free throw line jumper. Doesn't catch much of anything. And out of bounds it'll go. Fitchburg will get it back.
23 seconds left in the quarter. You'd think the Falcons would be playing for last shot, but that's pretty dangerous against Westfield. They're going to swarm the ball no matter what.
No promises on that. So the Falcons just have to play it out like it's normal, and Catherine Coppinger able to get the 2 on the finish there. That's the deficit down to 8. Last shot will come for the Owls. From the top of the arc, Mendel 3-ball, back iron, no good. Another rebound pulled down by Coppinger, but Marazzi doesn't have enough time to get a shot off. As we reach the end of the first quarter of play, the score, Fitchburg State 14, Westfield State 22.
For the Falcons, Dan, you have to be, obviously you're not satisfied down by 8 after a quarter, but you have to be impressed that they've managed to keep it close. Westfield State has really controlled the tempo as they were going to do from tip-off. They actually just changed the score, popped Westfield up to 23.
Yes.
Don't know if you saw that.
I did see that, and the live stats had them at 23.
All right, well, let's count our notes. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 14, 17, 20, 1, 2, 3. That was correct.
All right, so how did we lose a point somewhere?
I don't know. It's all I can do to keep up with the scoring. You want me to keep up with the mistakes in scoring, too?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out myself, so.
Do you have 23?
I do have 23.
Okay.
So that's strange enough. So, yep, 23-14 is the correct score.
And even with that 23-point total for Westfield, Dan, it's got to be disappointing for them because I have not been keeping track of the missed shots. It feels like Westfield State is shooting very poorly.
Yep, Westfield is 8 for 29. We do have live stats.
Fantastic.
So you don't have to do that job today, which is wonderful.
Amazing.
8 for 29. Fitchburg is 6 for 14.
Our entire partnership is based on me not having to do work. I'm so happy.
And just 3 of 14 from beyond the arc. The Falcons have missed all 5 of their shots from three-point land. Second quarter, you want to do play-by-play for this?
Sure. Long two is up and in. Chelsea Mousset. Yeah, I'll do play-by-play. Immediately says nothing for 10 seconds. Falcons trouble with the inbound, but they'll get Westfield State for the foul. That's Jen Rennick's second.
Team fouls reset after every quarter in women's basketball. And so the Falcons, which are at the team limit, will have that reset back down to 0. And that's the first foul against Westfield in this second quarter.
Logie brings it up. Now kicks it to the free throw line, trying to drive, and she is fouled.
Actually, they called a travel before the foul.
Travel on Coppinger. Okay, then.
There'll be another turnover against the Falcons, and that is turnover number 10 against the green and gold.
And all of 30 seconds into the quarter, Westfield State rotates their entire roster, of course.
Makes it a little more challenging to do play-by-play.
Just a little. Harold gathers the rebound there. Long pass up court, gathered win by Marazi. Kicks it out, back to Marazi. Tries to kick it out again, it gets there. Up for three, and in and out. Logie couldn't get that one to drop. Rebound controlled by the Falcons, back to Maraza. She'll drive, kick, no good.
And Coppinger called for the foul down low, battling for the loose ball. Coppinger is one of the best rebounders in the MASCAC, but obviously things can get a little challenging down low like that.
It's Coppinger's second foul of the game. Alyssa Camaro will bring it up court. Kicks out for Mendel. She drives, gets 3 Falcons on top of her, and they knock the ball out of bounds, and there go all of the Owls, just as I learned their names.
Did think Mendel took quite a few steps there, but she was able to get away with the travel, with what I thought was a travel. But
Dan, it's basketball. Everybody travels.
It's like some officiating crews are a little more gung-ho about calling them than others.
Great design off the inbound play. Melissa Gray lays it up and in. She just broke out into open space.
It's her first 2 of the game. She's up to 11 points on the contest.
Howard from beyond the arc sends it all the way across court for Marazi. Puts it up and in. Angelina Marazi with the 3-pointer. Now on the other end, this is up for 3, no good. Out of the hands of Jen Rennick. Falcons trying to narrow the deficit. Westfield with the 10-point lead, get the steal, up for 3 and good. Melissa Gray with her 3rd tray of the night. Extends the lead to 13. Again, Dan, the Falcons can barely get the ball out of their own backcourt.
Such a challenge when they've got that full court press. There's a 3 ball that hits back iron for Peyton Holmes, but an offensive rebound for Mish Logie.
Logie back to Holmes, immediately double teamed, kicks it out for Marazi. She'll drive, look for nobody in particular. Westfield will gather the live ball. They're gonna say a player handled it out of bounds. It'll be Fitchburg's ball.
Falcons guilty of 11 turnovers in this contest. Westfield has not actually been credited with having Westfield has not turned the ball over in this game.
There you go.
That's what I want to say.
7:20 to play here, second quarter. Westfield State leading Fitchburg State 30-17. This is up, air ball, no good. Follow-up shot and a foul is called. That will send Lindsay McDonald to the line. Sorry, Dan, did you get who that was called on?
I did not, but it's Alyssa Kamara. That's who it is. We have live stats.
We do.
Sometimes I've got to look at them, but...
McDonald's first free throw attempt is good. Lindsay's got 3 points on the night, all of them coming from the line. Try to make it 4 here. And she does. 30-19 in favor of the Owls. Just about 7 minutes to play here in the first half on what is the first of 3 games coming to you here on FATV. Jordan Halgus drives the lane, loses the handle. This one's up and good. Alyssa Kamara.
Her first points of the contest for the senior guard. Brings the lead back up to 14 for the Owls.
Now on the other end, Fitchburg can't get it to go. Follow-up shot, however, is good. 2 more for the Falcons, right back to the other end. Action coming way too fast to call here. Up for 3, bounces out.
Coppinger had the last 2 for the Falcons on the follow-up, but offensive rebound just adding to her lofty rebound totals.
Drives in, up, and no good. And we get some unpleasantries down in the paint. That's what we'll call that.
The Coppinger called for her second. 33-21 in favor of Westfield with 6:13 to go in the second.
Coppinger called for her second, you said? I already had her with 2.
Well, we got her with 2. You must have given a foul to someone who doesn't have one.
Well,
that happens. Fitchburg does have the better field goal shooting percentage in this game, 36.4 to Westfield's 32.4. But when you're shooting volume like that and hitting threes like that, who cares?
Melissa Gray, her 4th three-pointer of the night, extends the lead out to 15, 36-21 to the Owls.
That'll go out of bounds off the foot of Mishlogi.
Again, Fitchburg just can't get out of their own backcourt rather.
Gray's got 17 points in this contest.
Now off the inbound, the three-pointer is good. Kayla Durkee, first time we've called her name tonight. She sinks a triple. The Falcons will take timeout.
Each team gets 5 timeouts in women's basketball. Falcons call their second with 5:44 to go in the second quarter, 39-21 in favor of the Owls. And you can see first-year head coach Laura Pierce talking with her squad about what the team needs to improve on.
It's been a difficult campaign for Pierce again in her first year as the head coach of the Fitchburg State women's basketball team. There's only so much you can do as a coach. You come in late, you don't have a chance to get as much recruiting done as you like. Game like this where you're only rostering 8 players, it's very difficult.
Compared to a team that has used 10, that only took 84 seconds or so to use 10 players.
Falcons now can barely get the inbound in, and it is intercepted. Gray has to get rid of it, kicks it out. This is up for 3, no good. Rebound controlled by Fitchburg State. Marazi will try to run transition. Just try to keep the ball moving.
Foul is going to be called against Westfield.
I believe that's Emma Cretella, her first of the game. Owls getting a little deeper in their bench here late in the first half. Try the long inbounds pass. This is knocked out by Durkee. Falcons will again retain possession.
I can tell you that the Owls have used every player on their roster in this contest. The Falcons have used every player that was available to them. LaVacia Rosario was the odd one out today.
So both teams have emptied their entire bench, and it's just more impressive for one of them. Marazi for 3, no good. Rebound controlled by the Owls. Fast-paced offense again by Westfield. This is up for 3, no good. Marazi the rebound, and she's fouled.
Westfield trying to wrestle the ball away. And Cretella called for her second foul in as many minutes.
Don't believe Cretella's attempted a shot even, but she has 2 fouls already.
Not a whole lot in her account thus far.
Westfield State with 4 in the quarter. Make that number 5. It's Alyssa Kamara with her second.
So Kamara called for her second. That should have been free throws. And I think they just realized that should have been free throws.
So you get 4, and on the 5th, you shoot free throws.
And I think because the fouls came so quickly, I could see the referee point to himself when he stopped play. It's like, oh, this is
my bad.
Yep, we're supposed to go over here now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got because Westfield was so clean in the first quarter. They only committed 3 fouls, but they already are at the team limit. So now the Falcons, they get 2 free throws. First one is good for Marazzi.
Marazzi with her 8th point of the night. 9th will elude her. Westfield controls the rebound. 39-22, halfway through the second quarter of this one. And we get a foul called on the Falcons. That's Emma Thompson's first.
Thompson called for warding off there.
3rd of the quarter for Fitchburg. High pass, couldn't get the 3 off as a result. Trying to get rid of it. And we'll get a foul called on Fitchburg. Emma Thompson again. Second foul in about 30 seconds for Thompson, one of the senior captains here for the Falcons. All 3 seniors are also captains.
Westfield, on the other hand, hasn't got any captains at all.
It's very much, you're all part of the machine for Westfield.
That's the first turnover of the game for Westfield.
Generated by Marazzi. She kicks it off, laying it up and in for the Falcons is Lindsay McDonald. Up to 6 points, and that's her first field goal of the night. Falcons bring it back to a 15-point game. Now a long 3-pointer is good. Alyssa Kamara just dribbled up and nailed it. It's her second.
No fear for Kamara on that shot from distance. And another wild pass out of the hands of the Falcons. That's turnover number 14.
That one intended for Shannon Fitzgerald. Not much Fitzgerald could do about that one. It was out of her reach, wound up out of the court of play. It's not a thing they say in basketball, really, the court of play. It sounded nice.
I wasn't going to say anything about it.
This one for 3 is good. Chelsea Musette, her first 3-pointer of the night. Expanding the lead once again for the Owls.
That's Westfield's 9th 3 made in this contest. For comparison, the Falcons have 9 field goals.
They still don't have 10. Shot from the paint is no good. This one goes out of bounds off an Owl. Dan, the Falcons were hanging tight with the Owls through the first quarter, but as we approach halftime here, Westfield State is almost doubling up Fitchburg.
I think it's just been a matter of Westfield's been hitting their 3s. Obviously, for an Owls team that plays the Grinnell system, you're going to attempt a lot of 3s. There's a 2 from Marazzi there, gets her into double figures.
Marazzi pretty much doing it all herself there. Dribbled through 3 players, then got it up and in. Now kicks it out wide open for 3, no good. Follow-up, however, is good. That's Jen Rennick. Gets the rebound and the bucket. Falcons will take timeout. 3:05 to play here in the second quarter. Dan, why don't we thank a few more of our FATV underwriters?
Absolutely. We'd like to thank North End Subaru, Resource Management, Unitil, and Minuteman Press.
Thanks, as always, to all of the businesses who help underwrite this and every telecast here on FATV.
Yep. The whistle was 4 substitutions that they let go there.
And this bucket is good by Jade Harold, her first points of the night. Westfield State, as always, running quickly. Kicks it out, that pass is blocked. I don't even think Shannon Fitzgerald knew she got a hand on it.
The ball just sort of came right to her hands, and then only then, once it went off her right arm, did she try to make a play on it. Ultimately wasn't able to corral it and keep it in bounds, so Westfield will retain.
Kamara hands off Moriarty. She'll drive in, lay it up and in. Siobhan Moriarty with 5 on the afternoon now. Fitchburg trying to push the pace themselves. Down by 21. Try to make it 18. No. Rebound controlled by Westfield State.
Falcons fall to 1 of 10 from 3-point land.
Passed up the 3, kicks back out to Kamara. She'll send over for Mendel. Allison Mendel back to the corner, up for 3, and no good off the front iron. Rebound falls into the lap of an Owl. Then Jade Harold finally gathers that one in for Fitchburg State.
Fighting everyone off there after a couple of good chances for Westfield to get more scoring and get past the half-century mark.
Get a whistle here.
It's like a foul against Westfield.
We're going to get Allison Mendel for her first.
And since we've established that Westfield has more than 5 fouls, that means free throws.
It does indeed. They will send Catherine Coppinger to the line. Coppinger's got 4 points already.
Coppinger this season at the charity stripe is 48.5%.
Now she's better than that.
.33 for 68 coming into today.
Now she's 34 for 70. I can do math.
That's the deficit to 20.
Gray kicks it back out. Medium length 2, bounces. No good.
That was Falcone with the shot. Westfield's got their starters back out there. Again, with the system not quite unusual.
Shot attempt for Fitchburg, no good. Brought back up court by Westfield State. Wide open for 3, she takes it. She does not make it. Falcons control the rebound. Kayla Durkee couldn't get that one to go. Under a minute to play here first half. Falcons trying to match Westfield in pace. It's working for them here. Emma Thompson with her first points. Cuts the deficit to 18.
So many times it looked like things were going to go wrong for somebody on that trip. But Fitchburg was able to make it work, and whoops.
It's a hard foul there.
Thompson put her hands on Falcone there and pushed a little harder than she thought she had.
Falcone fell to the ground with a thud. That is the 5th of the quarter for Fitchburg. So they'll send Falcone to the line.
Everyone else will sub in, and if Falcone can make her second, she'll come out as well. Look at Falcone's numbers on the season from the charity stripe, 6 for 10. First one is well short. Falcone is without a point in this contest. She would like to change that. Here's the second. That'll rattle.
She does. Natalia Falcone, her first point of the night. She's a senior from Sutton, Mass. Falcons now will bring it up court. Shot clock is off. Try to get it off, but the pass is intercepted. Now Westfield controls. They can take the last shot if they want it. Mendel sends it out. And the shot is no good as we go to halftime with the score 50-31 in favor of Westfield State. Looked for a second there, Dan, like Westfield was going to just completely blow this one open and run away with it. Fitchburg is just barely hanging on.
Indeed, and I tell you on that last play as well, it looked like Moriarty just didn't realize how much time was left. Bench wasn't counting it down until it was about 2 seconds. So she had to get off that wild shot. But now for Westfield, yes, now at the half-century mark. This is right on pace with, I guess, how you would expect, especially compared to how these two teams played last time. Although Westfield, they average 83 a game. So ahead of pace in that regard. The last time these two teams met, it was only an 8-point deficit at halftime, 47-39. The Falcons, though, hit 10 threes in that contest last time, whereas they only have 1 3 to call their own in this contest. And
that one was by Angelina Marazzi. Dan, Marazzi has been kind of the focal point of the Fitchburg offense. She's been running a lot of the plays, taking a lot of the shots.
Yes, 10 points for Marazzi, and she's often been the game breaker for the Falcons during her 4 years here for Fitchburg State. The players had to take it upon herself to do a lot of the work, and she's got the 10 points, and she's had to do a lot of work, but nonetheless, for Mrazzi, it's another solid contest going for her. She's on pace to exceed her season average of 15 a game. You look at Westfield, Melissa Gray has been, as advertised, the leading scorer in the MASCAC, has 17 first half points.
Comes in averaging just over 20 a game. She's got more than half of that. Obviously, she's got 17 through the first 20 minutes of action. But folks, we do want to remind you, this is, again, not the only game we're going to have for you here on FATV. First of all, coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon, pretty much immediately following the conclusion of this one, will be Fitchburg State University men's basketball. It'll also be the Falcons taking on the Owls. And then later tonight, a 6:30 puck drop. It is hockey night in Leominster. Dang it, as the Leominster Blue Devils host the visiting, those vile villains from Fitchburg Monty Tech. That'll be coming to you live from the home of the Blue Devils, the Wallace Civic Center right here in Fitchburg. And we'll have the call for all three of those games, as well as the second half of this one, coming to you through the course of today. But for now, we'll take a break for halftime. We'll be back in a moment. Owls leading the Falcons 50-31. It's basketball afternoon in Fitchburg, right here on FATV. We are back here at the Parkinson Gymnasium on the campus of Fitchburg State University. Fitchburg State women's basketball trailing the Owls of Westfield 50-31 as we get ready for the third quarter of action. John Gogarty here with you alongside Daniel Bolak. Dan, for Westfield State, it's been as advertised. They have been high intensity, high tempo, pushing the pace on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, and they have a pretty big lead to show for it.
Yeah, Westfield in the first quarter shot 8 of 29 from the field, 27%, 3 of 14 from 3, but in the second quarter they really turned it on, 10 of 22, more efficient with their shots. They were making their shots, 6 of 13 from beyond the arc, and so they were able to outscore the Falcons 27-17 in the second frame and push the lead out to 19 points for the Falcons. They've shot for the game 40%, which is fairly good, especially for their numbers. They normally average 33.5 from the field, but the challenge has been the three-point shooting. They're a 30% three-point shooting team on the season, but only shooting 1 of 10 in this contest for 10%. Makes things a little more difficult.
Especially when you're facing a big deficit against a team that likes to run fast offense. They're really never going to take their foot off the gas, rather. You've got to get those threes to go. You've got to create the open looks. Fitchburg State has done a pretty good job of that, especially when they try to push the pressure themselves, because as Westfield State plays that full court defense, obviously that creates holes and vulnerabilities if you can get those quick passes off or those long passes. We've seen Fitchburg try a number of those long passes. Many of them, unfortunately, have fallen into the hands of the Owls. But I think if Fitchburg is going to get back into this game, they're going to need to do more of that.
And you look at the turnover battle, it's 16 turnovers in the first half for Fitchburg. Westfield only coughed up the ball twice.
Falcons start off with an immediate three, and that is good right out of the gates. Emma Thompson drills a triple. Give her 5 points on the contest. Makes it a 16-point game, 50-34. Now the other end of the court, Melissa Gray is up and good. She was the leading scorer for Westfield in the first half, credited with 15 points, now up to 17. Angelina Mrazzi sends it out. Misha Logie back to Mrazzi, loses the handle, picked up by Westfield. Owls in transition, up and good. Isabella Aitken, give her 7 points now. And again, you see Westfield State with that full court press, not even letting the Falcons out of the backcourt. A little aggressively there.
Massette called for her first foul of the contest. 49 seconds into third quarter.
Westfield State went into the bonus halfway through that second quarter. That aggressive style of play can sometimes come back and bite them.
Falcons nearly used up all the 5 seconds there to get the inbound. They haven't been called for a 5-second violation. They have been called for a 10-second violation in this game.
Falcons had a couple of players open for three, couldn't get the pass away. Ball eventually rolls out of bounds off the hands of an Owl. Falcons will retain possession.
Part of the challenge in this game, just because you can see a player open doesn't mean you necessarily can get it over there very easily.
Misha Logie couldn't get it to go. Now for three, Peyton Holmes is good. her first three-pointer of the night. Falcons get those three-pointers to go. Suddenly a 17-point deficit doesn't seem quite so big, although, to be honest, it's still pretty big.
It is. Again, the Falcons had 10 three-pointers in their game against Westfield last month. That's just their third of the contest, the second of this half. And a travel called against Westfield.
During the halftime break, we had a conversation with Jamie Rogers, one of the officials here at Fitchburg State University. He was saying, you know, he's not entirely sure if officiating squads know what a travel is, to put it gently. But we got one called there.
As we mentioned, the travel calls will vary from crew to crew. Some will be more gung-ho about it. Other ones will be a little more conservative. This is a crew that obviously is much more conservative with calling travels, and it's up to the teams to adjust for that accordingly.
Isabella Aitken nails another three-pointer, expands the lead to 23. Now stolen by the Owls. Laid up and in, Chelsea Musette 2 more points. Musette's up to 11. It's another Owl in double digits.
Westfield has scored 30 of their points in this contest off of turnovers. That's just over half.
Coppinger sends it out for Holmes, tries to get rid of it, deflected out of bounds by an Owl.
It was Rennick down low with the deflection out of bounds. And now the line change.
59-37 in favor of Westfield State. Falcons trying to stay in it. Peyton Holmes for 3. That won't help. Just barely gets the iron. This pass is intercepted by Marazi. She'll take it herself, kicks it out, pass is intercepted right back. Tit for tat, turnover for turnover.
Marazi doing a nice imitation of the Westfield squad with that steal, but just put a little too much air on that pass, and Mindell able to reach up and pull it away.
Jordan Huggus drove the lane and got herself fouled. Lindsay McDonald guilty of her first foul of the game. First of the half for Fitchburg. That'll send Huggus to the line. It's her first point of the game.
Huggus at the line this year is 63%, 29 for 46, also the second foul against McDonald. And now 61-37 in favor of Westfield as that's knocked out of bounds by Kamara.
Peyton Holmes was there, wanted to try another 3. Alyssa Kamara knocked it out of bounds. Still 22 seconds on the shot clock. Plenty of time for the Falcons. Back out to the far side. This is up for 3, no good. Came up short. Rebound controlled by an Owl, who was then fouled. Lindsay McDonald, her third.
Ties her with Thompson for most fouls on the Falcons. And the Falcons stuck with a short bench today, only 3 players active on the bench.
You've only got an 8-player roster. If 2 of them foul out, makes a bad situation that much worse. Kicked out. Now driving the lane is Huggus, can't get the layup to go. Marazi with the rebound. Tries to push it forward, kept in, but right into the arms of an Owl. Emma Thompson trying to fight for it. Misha Logie dives to the hardwood as well. All kinds of players down. Siobhan Moriarty's actually holding her chin. Might have hit her mouth on the floor there. She'll head to the bench along with, well, pretty much everyone on Westfield State. That's what they do.
Normal operating procedure for the Owls, but boy, players just diving out and extending, putting everything they could into trying to regain possession of the basketball. Eventually goes the way of the Owls. They'd have their starters back in there.
Gray can't get the layup to drop. Rebound controlled by Fitchburg State. Mish Logie pushes it ahead to Marazi. Back to Logie. Back to Marazi. Looks for 3. Now drives, shoots, no good. Rebound controlled by Westfield State. Owls will try to push the pressure. Long pass for Aitken connects. Aitken's layup, however, is rejected. Out of bounds off the hands of Mish Logie. Westfield State will keep the ball.
A lot of the runs in this contest haven't been terribly long. Seems the most any team has been able to get in terms of consecutive baskets without an interruption is 3.
Chelsea Mousset can't get the 3 ball to drop. Rebound controlled by Marazi, tries a long pass, well overthrown. Peyton Holmes was there, but honestly, it looked more like she was trying to shoot it into the Gatorade bucket than that she was trying to create a pass.
Just a wild pass offline, and again, this Westfield pressure will make it very difficult for teams to establish positioning down court and a lot of other things, and that's turnover number 22 against the Falcons.
Wide open for 3 is Kayla Durkee, and she nails it. Durkee's second three-pointer of the night gives her 6 points. Expands the Westfield lead to 27.
Now 10 in a row for the Owls.
Howard tried to keep it in, could not do that. She stepped on the line. Excuse me, Jade Harold.
Our public address announcer only ends up announcing the Fitchburg substitutions because you try to look at all the Owls coming into the game and it's like, yep.
Yeah, no, it's all of them. They all came out and new ones came in.
Yep. I mean, I used to do PA back in the day when I was at Fitchburg State, the wild 3 that goes short from Mendel, and it's like Westfield wasn't using the Grinnell system when I was doing PA for those games, so substitutions weren't as difficult, but yeah, if you have to announce all 5 of the players, I can tell you, you just don't want to do that.
No, it's very difficult. Angelina Marazi took a hard fall on the other end of the court there, came up grabbing her head, but she seems to be okay. She's still in the game. In fact, handling the ball now, lays it off for Holmes, kicks in, back to Marazi. Had a look at a 3, decided not to do it, winds up getting fouled. Emma Cretella guilty of the offense. It's Cretella's 3rd foul, and she doesn't have any other record on the scorecard, Dan.
Yep, she's still looking to open her point scoring account on the contest.
Halfway through the 3rd quarter of this one, Westfield State leading Fitchburg State 64-37. Again, first of 3 games for you here on FATV today. Dan and I will have the call for all 3. Under the hoop, Jade Harold loses the handle, gets it back, kicks it out. Fitzgerald hits the rim. Rebound controlled by the Owls.
That was going to be a long 2 from Fitzgerald there, a line drive shot, and she was toeing the line, so it was just not terribly well executed there.
That one was for 3, but couldn't get it to drop. Emma Thompson pushing the offense, sends it forward, shot no good, controlled by Westfield State.
That time just difficult to get a good spot off the glass to bounce that off of. Again, when you only have a split second to make your move, makes things all the more difficult.
Laguerre drives, lays it off, nobody there. Off the leg of Harold and controlled by Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald ahead to Peyton Holmes. Back to Shannon Fitzgerald. Now wide open for 3. Emma Thompson can't get it to go. Rebound goes off an Owl. Falcons will retain possession, and there go all of the Owls.
Yep, those McCurry and Harold battling for the ball went off both their hands, but McCurry was the last to touch. McCurry is also the only Owl from the live stats records who has yet to attempt a field goal.
Thompson faked the 3, decides against it. Now Fitzgerald all the way across court for Holmes. Holmes for 3 is good. Peyton Holmes, another 3-pointer. Unofficially with 7 points on the night. Now at the other end of the court, a 3-ball for Westfield hits the front iron and is no good. Offensive rebound for the Owls, however. We get a whistle.
Stepped on the end line.
So no offensive rebound for the Owls. They did it bad.
Fitchburg will settle for the dead ball rebound instead.
24-point deficit. Falcons trying to make a comeback. And that'll help a little bit. We get a foul in the front court on Chelsea Mousset. It's her 2nd. 3rd of the quarter for Westfield State. Falcons trying desperately to stay into this one. Thompson lays it ahead. Now back out to Fitzgerald for 3, no good. Controlled by Harold, swatted away as she tries a follow-up. Melissa Gray, the leading point scorer, will dump it off. That is a very nice shot there. Isabella Aitken got that one to spin all the way around the rim and in. Brings her up to an even 10 points on the contest. Now this pass at the other end was intended for Jade Harold, but went well out of her reach. Stop the clock, stop the play. 3:02 to play here in the third quarter. Westfield State will have the ball. And the Falcons are trying to push the pace and stay in this one, but they're not controlling possession enough. Westfield State, while they're not expanding the lead much, they're at least matching Fitchburg point for point. This three-point opportunity is no good. Falcons have been unable to really get back into this one. Now transition, that shot is good. Allison Mendel guilty of the foul as well. They'll send her to the line for another shot. Or perhaps not. Perhaps the foul came
The two
before the
referees actually gave different signals.
Fantastic. Well, they're not setting up for a free throw, so there's no bucket. Fitzgerald drives the lane, kicks it out to nobody in particular. Back into her hand, she takes a long two, no good. Offensive rebound for the Falcons, follow-up shot left-handed. Catherine Coppinger got that one to go. Not the most artistically pleasing shot you'll ever see, but it's 2 points nonetheless. Allison Mendel kicks it out. Passes up a three. Now back to Mendel behind the line. She'll drive again and lay it up and in, 2 points. Allison Mendel's first bucket of the game. She had a couple of free throws earlier. And we get a jump ball. First time today we look at the possession arrow, and that says it is Westfield State's ball. Now, Dan, I'm not a hardcore basketball guy, and I'm sure there are reasons for it. The possession arrow is stupid. It's a hot take. Defend the possession arrow. Defend the concept of a possession arrow.
Collegiate teams are not equal in terms of their recruiting power. Some teams will have lesser heights than others. The teams that have can recruit for height. There's a three there for Gray. And the teams that don't are stuck with shorter players. You look at the Falcons for a few years, they were stuck with their tallest player being 6'5", 6'6". This is badly disadvantageous when it comes to tips, and when you have the jump balls, that's more tips. More tips makes it more difficult for a team that has less height to contend. So
the point is that jump balls are not fair because they disproportionately favor the team with the taller players.
Yeah.
We're playing basketball, Daniel. It's a three-pointer made by Fitchburg. Narrows the deficit to 26, 71-45 now in favor of the Owls.
That is the explanation that I have heard around why the possession arrow exists.
I see. Well, I was too busy making fun of basketball to properly keep track. Who scored that three-pointer for Fitchburg?
It was Thompson.
Thank you.
She's up to 8 points on the contest. She's matching with Peyton Holmes. They both have two threes and a two, and they both got them in the same order as well.
Shot attempt by Mendel is no good. Rebound desperately kept in, but right into the hands of Marazi. Fitchburg try to push the pace. Now they'll set up Peyton Holmes for three. No good. Tried to break that tie you were talking about earlier. Less than a minute to play here in the quarter. Siobhan Moriarty's three is no good. Controlled by Mish Logie. Logie will bring it up court. Kicks it out for Holmes. Pumps and now takes the three. Doesn't get it to go. Controlled by Thompson. Back out to Marazi. Two players on Angelina Marazi. Now they'll double the ball. Back to Marazi in the paint. Spins, puts up a two, gets it to go. Angelina Marazi now up to 12 points.
Her first points of the half.
Westfield will settle in, try to take the final shot. It'll come off the hands of Kamara. It's for three, and it is no good. So we end the third quarter with Fitchburg trailing Westfield by 24 points, 71-47. It looked for a minute there like it might just get totally blown out and Westfield was just going to run away with it. Fitchburg is at least hanging in there, but every step of the way, Dan, it seems for every 2 points Fitchburg gets, Westfield is going to get 3. And over time, that lead just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now you're down by 24 going into the final 10 minutes.
It just compares to the three-point shooting in this game. Westfield 12 of 39 from three-point land. The Falcons 5 of 22. And you look at the overall shooting percentages, Fitchburg shooting a little better, 37.5% to Westfield's 36.1. But you also look at the offensive rebounds, 15 to 11 in favor of Westfield. A lot of second chance points for the blue and white.
A lot of second chance points, just a lot of shots from Fitchburg, from Westfield State rather. They've taken so many more. 72 field goals attempted for the Owls against just 48 for the Falcons. So even though the percentages are roughly equal, Westfield is getting so many more opportunities that results in more buckets, more points.
And that comes down to the turnovers. Fitchburg has turned the ball over 26 times. Westfield has scored 38 points off those turnovers. The Falcons have just 7 points to show off of 5 turnovers forced.
Now we will head to the fourth quarter of action, and Blessed leads with the play-by-play. Here's Daniel Bolette.
Thank you, John. Thank you for hanging in there. As the Falcons, because they had the arrow, they start with the ball in the fourth quarter, and they lose the ball on a pass over the head of Jade Harold.
It's a nice pass back to the referee by the gentleman with the courtside seat.
He's got one of the best views of all.
If he doesn't have to get up and mop the court, he doesn't want to get out of his chair. I understand the impulse.
Gray out to the left side. Musette, 3-ball from the left wing. He travels over the basket, kept in bounds by the Owls. They'll try again. Gray, 3-ball, yes.
6 3-pointers made by Melissa Gray. Toss on a couple twos and a free throw. That gives her 23 points on the afternoon. Chelsea Musette guilty of her 3rd foul.
Perfectly symmetrical score line here, 74 to 47 in favor of the Owls with 37 seconds gone in the fourth quarter. Falcons will get the inbound after the foul against Musette. Marazzi for Thompson, now to the near side for Holmes. Holmes brings it up to the right side, Harold in the right corner, skips out to the left side and around, deep into the paint. Thrown up and no good for the Falcons. Rebound taken in by the Owls, and quickly transitioning up court is Siobhan Moriarty. Throws that off the window and in.
Moriarty went with the head fake. She made it look like she was going to do the drive and kick. The Falcons laid off, left her wide open.
That ruins the symmetry of the score line. Now,
how dare they?
76-47.
The Falcons must score 20 unanswered points.
Bring it back. Harold, turnaround shot is good.
Hey, that's 2. They're trying.
Yep. It starts with 1 and you just work from there. 76-49, 3-ball, left side, no good. Rebound taken in by Thompson. In transition, Marazzi trying to take it all the way. And the foul is going to be called against Mindell. Led her back to the play, but because they made contact, because her feet were moving, they call the foul against her.
It's a good heads-up play there, Dan, by Angelina Marazzi. She basically leaned forward and extended her elbow, and oh, look, there was contact, drawing the foul.
But at least she did that extension as part of a shooting motion, so she was able to draw free throws. The first one doesn't go. So one more free throw coming here. And that doesn't go as well. So if you didn't like that foul call, there's your ball, don't lie. And it'll remain 76-49 with 8:20 to go in the contest. It's on the right side, Musette. Out to the left side, mid-range jumper. Good for Natalia Falcone, her first field goal today.
Falcone had a free throw made earlier, but now she's got a proper bucket. 3 points on the afternoon for her.
Marazzi travels left side of the paint as all the Owls surround her. Hops on the rim, does not fall. Harold can't pull it down. And it'll go into the hands of Musette instead.
Harold's the tallest woman on the court, but she had 3 Owls around her. There's 3 points for Melissa Gray once again.
And she's got 26 in this game. Melissa Gray continues to impress. And now Jalen Harold will get the 2 there. Brings the Falcons above the half-century mark, but Westfield quickly down court. Just as soon as I finish writing it in my notes, they're already down there ready to shoot. And there's a three-ball good for Chelsea Mousset.
Mousset's into double digits now, another Owl.
Brings it to 84-51 underneath. Harold can't get that one to go. Tries to bounce it out to Marazi, but it goes into the reach of Gray instead. One player to beat. That's an offensive foul.
Gray with her second of the game. Nobody in any real danger right now. A few players with 3 fouls, but I have no one with 4.
That is correct. That's what I've got as well. Also, interesting how the Falcon that was back there, I think that was Thompson, set her feet well in advance, and Gray just ran right into her, and it was a pretty clear charge. She was willing to take the gamble that Gray would not change her trajectory, and that worked out pretty well. Meanwhile, a foul on the other end against the Owls.
It's Lauren Laguerre, guilty of her second.
The advantage of the Grinnell system, too, is if you commit a lot of fouls, which also happens a lot with the Grinnell system, it does mean you get to spread them out amongst a lot of players.
Westfield's already up to 4 fouls in the quarter. We're just 3 minutes in, and any more they'll be in the bonus.
It's the first miss of the day for McDonald. The Falcons nearly were able to get 3 on that trip as Coppinger pulled down the board, but wasn't able to get that one to fall. Now another 3-ball for the Owls. That's offline from Halgus. Offensive rebound. Scoop shot is good for Westfield.
It's Lauren Laguerre's first points of the game. She now has 2 of those.
Finally gets on the board after so many tries. Makes it 86-52. Underneath, deep in the paint. Marazi can't get it to fall. A scrum for the basketball, and a foul is going to be called before the shot.
Second time today we've seen Angelina Marazi a little slow to get up.
And Marazi was called for the foul there. That's her third.
She'll head to the bench. It's the first foul of the quarter for Fitchburg. Dan, you look up, it doesn't, obviously it feels like Westfield is the better team. It doesn't feel like a 34-point game.
It doesn't. Just how the pace just does not change. And Westfield continues to hit their shots. They're probably going to be playing their third line a lot to finish off this game, just to get them a little more playing time. As this is Ali Skolnick. Lost the handle on it and will be taken in by Coppinger. Gets the pass off barely for Fitzgerald. Throws it down court for Holmes. Now back for Fitzgerald. Long 2 is good.
It's a very long 2. Had both feet on the 3-point line. But Shannon Fitzgerald gets on the board with her first points of the game.
That line drive 2. And now every Falcon has a point today. There's a 3-ball that's well offline. It's not the first time I've seen that shot. Although it wasn't Reddick last time who missed that wildly. Holmes sets, shoots, 3-ball, a bit too strong, but right into the hands of Fitzgerald it goes. Tries to throw it back out to Holmes, but that one off a Westfield hand and intercepted.
It was basically an entire parliament of Owls between her and the ball there.
So it goes back to the top for Reddick. Now left side 3-ball, just a bit too strong. Rebound taken in by the Falcons, and we're gonna get free throws.
Ali Skolnick commits the foul. It's her first. First mark on the score sheet for her. Westfield State has 3 players without points. That being Skolnick, Cretella, and Courtney McCurry.
With that being foul number 5 against Westfield. Back to the charity stripe we go. Lindsay McDonald 5 for 6 on the day. Coming into today, McDonald was 36 for 46, 78.3%. Best free throw shooter on the squad. Here's the first, and it's good.
McDonald now 8 points on the game, only 2 from the field. She's made 6 free throws.
One more coming, and she gets that one as well. Brings it to a 30-point deficit, 86-56. With 5:08 to go in the contest, here's another 3 attempted. That one offline behind the rim, basically. Coppinger takes in another board. That one goes off the fingertips of Fitzgerald and out of bounds.
Dan, I don't know if Allison Mendel got her hand on that pass, but Fitzgerald certainly acted as though the ball might have changed direction just a little bit. It was almost like she wasn't prepared for it, but she was looking right at it. It hit her in the hands, so maybe Mendel got a fingertip on it.
Perhaps, but I think it did go last touch off of Fitzgerald, though.
Oh, certainly.
Yep. Nearly lost into the backcourt, and McCurry just got her first shot attempt at the contest. She was trying to get on the board, and a travel called against Thompson. They felt she moved her pivot foot before she put the ball on the floor.
And we get a timeout. 4.5 minutes to play here.
Westfield calls their first timeout of the contest.
It'll give us a chance once again to thank some of the underwriters who bring this and every remote broadcast to you. FATV Remote Productions are underwritten in part by Hub International, MART, Fitchburg State University, and the Sentinel and Enterprise.
We thank them for their support. And as we mentioned, this is the first of 3 games we'll have here on FATV and the first of 2 on the Falcon Sports Network. Hello to everyone tuning in there. As after this game, we will have the men's basketball half of this doubleheader, the Falcons and the Owls. Estimated start time 2 o'clock. And then on FATV, we're going to have at 6:30 ice hockey, the Leominster Blue Devils hosting the Fitchburg Bonnie Tech Red Raiders. It's the rivalry on ice. You won't want to miss it.
That's right, fans. Your Leominster Blue Devils will be hosting the vile, foul invaders of Fitchburg in Fitchburg at the Wallace Civic Center. Don't read too much into it.
Googs is totally embracing the heel roll here.
Absolutely. I'm wearing blue. In support of the home team.
Turnover forced there, and trying to bring it all the way was Coppinger. Couldn't get that to fall. No easy layups in Division III. Trying to take it all the way for Westfield was Allison Mandel. Lost the handle on it. McCurry tries another 3. This one quite offline. Mandel will keep it in. With under 4 to go in this contest, 30-point lead for the Owls. That was the deficit they won by against Fitchburg earlier this season. Mandel gets the 2 there to get her up to 6 points.
And I know Westfield comes in with a record below 500 on the season, but they look every bit like the 4-time defending MASCAC champions that they are. This 3-pointer by Emma Thompson, however, is good, puts her up to 11 points on the game.
And the deficit now down to 31. McCurry out to the left corner. There's a 3 ball, just hoisted up there, does not go. Out of the hands of Ali Skolnick.
I want to point out it's 29, I can do math.
Yes, it is.
To 50, yeah. I thought maybe the scoreboard had missed something.
No, I think I just was the one who forgot to do math for a moment.
That's fine.
Ball knocked out of bounds, last off of the Owls.
We also want to mention, folks, that in addition to having the hockey game this evening on FATV, if you should find yourself out and about and in need of a radio broadcast, well, you can tune in to WPKZ for a simulcast of that hockey game as well.
Indeed, so all 3 of our games today simulcast somewhere.
That's right.
On the other end, McCurry loses out of bounds, but it's last off the Falcon.
We did tell the WPKZ people that we're going to tone it down in the commercialism during the hockey game, right?
Oh yeah, we know what we're doing.
Oh, good.
Yep, we've done this before. Mandel, 3 ball, not strong enough. Rebound into the hands of the Falcons and Emma Thompson. That pass across court taken in by the Owls instead. Mandel driving right side of the paint, draws contact, and she'll get to earn a couple points at the charity stripe.
Foul's going to be called against Peyton Holmes. It's her first of the game. With 2.5 minutes to play, Holmes is in little danger of fouling out.
She was the second to last Falcon to commit a foul. Here's the first free throw from Mandel. That's good.
Only Shannon Fitzgerald is unblemished.
For Mandel this season, 62% free throw shooter.
That just improved.
She's 4-4 on the day.
Up to 8 points for Mandel.
It's now 90 for the Owls. On her knees, McDonald keeps the play alive, tries to find Logie, double teamed. She keeps a hold of the basketball. And now Holmes able to find an opening for 3. Back iron, no good. Thompson drives in, gets the offensive board, and gets a three. Her hard work is rewarded. Her fourth three of the half.
It's an excellent individual effort by Emma Thompson. She saw from the moment Holmes let go of that shot that there was going to be a rebound opportunity. She drove in, picked it up herself, then went right back out to the three-point line and nailed a triple of her own.
Underneath, unable to climb the ladder was Lauren Laguerre. Ball lost out of bounds off of Fitchburg. 106 seconds left.
Shannon Fitzgerald will check back in.
Laguerre trying to find McCurry. Gets into a scramble with Fitzgerald. It's last off Fitzgerald as it goes out of bounds. Now 102 seconds left in the contest. 28-point lead for the blue and white. On the verge of getting their 10th victory of the season. Skolnick, top of the arc for Cortella. Cortella into the paint, bounce McCurry. Left side jumper, no good with the shot clock running down. Just having trouble controlling those shots. They're coming very wildly off her hands. Fitzgerald with the pass, and that one maybe overshooting the mark, but a foul is called against the Owls.
That'll be on Courtney McCurry. It's her first. McCurry, another one of the Owls without any points on the board thus far. Hasn't seemed terribly confident in her shooting stroke.
First free throw is good for Jade Harold. So many points scored in this game, my little run tracker on the side of my stat sheet ran out of room.
Yeah, I gave up. I didn't even try to do that. That's a thing for, professional basketball broadcasters to do, not yahoos talking into a microphone.
Both free throws good for Jadelyn Harold. Improves her free throw shooting percentage. It was only 5 of 11 coming into today. Gets that over the halfway mark. And that pass into no woman's land. Taken by the Falcons. They'll happily take it. As it's kicked out left side, that's a three if it goes. That's terribly wild. Sometimes the threes get a bit rushed, but again, the Grinnell system is kind of crazy like that. One of the crazier things about the system, the way that Grinnell themselves implement it, is they press so hard in the backcourt that if a team breaks into the front court, often they'll just let off and let the team get a layup. It's a very extreme form of that, and Westfield doesn't do that.
No.
They full court press instead of just half court or 2/3 court pressing. But there are different ways of implementing the system. And Westfield's implementation has been very successful for them over the years. As we mentioned, they are back-to-back-to-back-to-back MASCAC champions.
That's one more than Tom and Mansky's AAU team.
Last year when I mentioned it, I always said back-to-back-to-back because I was specifically referencing that.
Well, there you go. One person got it.
First free throw is good for Laguerre. She'll have one more. Second one is good as well. So she improves her free throw shooting mark from just under 61% up to 4 points on the contest. 92-64 as that ball goes off the fingertips of McDonald and out of bounds. You can see the frustration in her body movements as it came out of bounds. That's turnover number 31. May very well be the last turnover of the game.
It's got to be frustrating for the women on this Fitchburg State team. There's only 8 of you on the roster. You come in against this team that is going to push the pace and push and push and push. They tried to hang in there. They never let Westfield go on a major run, but ultimately Fitchburg just totally outclassed, really, by Westfield State. The final score, 92-64. The Owls picking up a decisive victory.
Westfield outscoring the Falcons in every quarter of this contest, 23-14 in the first, 27-17 in the second, 21-16 in the third, and 21-17 in the fourth for that 92-64 final score, as the Owls will now go to 10-12 and 7-2 in the MASCAC. The Falcons fall to 5-16, 3-6 in the MASCAC.
Definitely not a game without any bright spots for Falcons. You want to highlight the play of Angelina Marazzi. I believe she had 12 points, for the Falcons, as well as Emma Thompson, 4 3-point field goals in the final quarter, I believe, or maybe just in the second half.
In the second half, she actually was the team leader at the end with 14 points. Mrazzi was a rebound short of a double-double, 12 points, 9 boards, 9 points and 5 boards for Lindsay McDonald. Oh, 8 rebounds for her. I'm reading the wrong column, but 8 rebounds for McDonald. She had a pretty good game as well. Catherine Coppinger finished with 10 rebounds and 7 points.
Other side of the ball, of course, the first place your eye goes is the scoreline of Melissa Gray. 7 3-pointers, as well as a few other for her. I believe that's a total of 26 points on the day.
Indeed it was. 7 of 10.
Play.
7 of 10 from beyond the arc and 6 boards for Gray in 21 minutes time. She continues to pump her stats up. Chelsea Musset finishes with 14 points, 8 steals for her.
8 steals.
And 9 assists. Oh my goodness, what a triple-double that would have been.
A triple-double with steals. You don't see that very often.
You don't, and she only played 15 minutes.
It's, you know, obviously with Westfield State, they play to the system, and the system is going to inflate things, but you need the players to make it work. And at least today, maybe not so much this season, but definitely today, the Westfield State women had the players to make it work.
Isabel Aiken finished with 12 points for the Owls. Allison Mendel with 8, Siobhan Moriarty with 7. 11 different Owls scored, all 8 Falcons scored for that. So we look at the next contest for both teams. The Falcons, go ahead.
I thought you were going to talk about the next game, and I was like, no,
yeah.
we have to sign off on this one. But yeah,
no.
Tell us what the Fitchburg State women are going to be doing
We're going to talk about
next.
the next games for both teams. For the Falcons, they actually have a brief reprieve from conference play as they're going to be taking on the Bulldogs of Dean College on Tuesday for a 6 o'clock start. That's a single game, and before they're back in conference a week from today, going down to Bridgewater to take on the Bears for a 1 o'clock start. For Westfield, they'll be taking on the Bears on Wednesday at the Woodward Center, a 5:30 start for them. Those are the next contests for both teams.
And folks, again, we do want to mention we have 2 more games coming up for you here. Fitchburg State men's basketball will be taking on the Owls of Westfield in just a little bit less than half an hour. And then later today at 6:30, it will be your Leominster Blue Devils hosting the Bulldogs of Fitchburg Monty Tech. Both of those games for you live here on FATV. But for now, we will sign off for this contest. We want to thank, once again, the underwriters who made this game possible. We also want to thank our crew, our camera operators, Haley LaTroy, Matt Murdoka, and Nicole Gaffney. Our directors, Dave Oster and Jared Roberts. We also, of course, want to thank Travis Falk for the incredible work that he does. I believe Nate Glennie is here as well. Thanks, as always, to Nate.
Indeed.
And for Dan Bolak, I'm John Gugerty. We are going to take a little bit of a break, but we will be back with the second game of our triple header coming up. Fitchburg State men's basketball on the slate next, right here on FATV.